Does Stefon Diggs still have the stuff to transform the New England Patriots receiving core? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Hopefully your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for the Locked On Podcast Network. So reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. You can catch me over where the skies are blue on Blue Sky at MDABATENFL.bsky.social. And of course, if you're looking to show some love to Locked On Patriots social media style, please check out our account at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Pats fans, after a little bit of a lull in the action, the equivalent of the New England Patriots hot stove is heating up once again. Patriots making moves, filling roster voids, and they're on the precipice of perhaps making one of their biggest splashes in free agency to date. That's right, wide receiver Stefon Diggs, as we speak, is in Foxborough, taking a visit at one Patriots place, perhaps taking a physical, and the New England Patriots are doing their due diligence to get Drake May, a bona fide potential number one wide receiver. What would it mean for Diggs to sign with the Patriots? Also, if the Pats fail to make this happen, what does it mean for the Patriots in their pursuit to get Drake May a weapon? We're going to discuss that here today. We're also going to talk about a couple of new arrivals here in New England. Jack Gibbons, a linebacker who has a ton of experience working for Mike Vrabel, formerly of the Tennessee Titans, a favorite of my guest today, we're going to get to that in just a moment, signs on the dotted line and is here in New England. What does the presence of Jack Gibbons mean for the middle of this defense, and what does it mean potentially for Christian Ellis, who was recently signed to an offer sheet by the Las Vegas Raiders? Finally, we're going to talk about some of those big round men up front, and the Patriots had a big void at center. They filled it by signing former Minnesota Vikings center Garrett Bradbury. What does Bradbury's signing mean for New England? Is this a short-term stopgap or potentially a solution for the future? All of that here today and much more. And again, folks, there's only one man that can handle all of the information. We got him here today. He is our good friend, the legend himself, the Green King of Sting, my good friend Thomas Murphy of DieHardBostonSportsFans.com. Thank you for coming to me in friendship today, Don Murph.
Oh, man, my pleasure, especially with all the happenings that are going on up here at One Patriots Place, and I love it. As you said, there's a little lull, little slowdown. We backed off the accelerator a little bit, but only to pass people on the right.
Right. Exactly. And the New England Patriots may be on their way to passing people on the right, leaving people in the dust. And at this point, Patriots Nation is excited, Murph, because as we said to open the program, 31-year-old Stefon Diggs, one of the top receivers in the game when he's healthy, is currently in Foxborough and reportedly is going to not only take a physical, but also experience what is being described as a very intensive visit with New England. Now, the chances are when our everydayers, our Locked On Patriots loyalists are viewing this podcast, Stefon Diggs may already have agreed to a deal with the Patriots. He may have left without a deal, or he may have turned them down outright. So at this point, Murph, I think we're going to play the hypothetical scenario all the way around. Let's start with what Stefon Diggs signing in New England would mean for this team. Last year, caught 47 passes, 496 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. Yep. Now, you look at Stefon Diggs' usual stat sheets for the year, and you're going to say, wow, that's a huge fall off. But there's a reason for that, folks. As all of you know, he suffered a torn ACL in October. That ended his season prematurely. From what we're hearing, Stefon is recovering at a pretty good rate, and he may be ready in time to start the 2025 season, but it's not exactly confirmed yet. So at this point, Stefon still remains on the open market, and according to multiple reports, this is the first visit that he's taken with an NFL team. Murph, if he's signed and he's healthy, this automatically upgrades the Patriots receiver room. He is the number one option for Drake May when it comes to this position. Clearly a lot of pedigree, a ton of talent. I know there's some question marks potentially about a personal fit here in New England, but
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I think a lot of our fans are going to be surprised. I like this move. I think this is a move the Patriots should make.
Yeah, so do I. I'm tired of hearing about a personal fit.
Mm,
You know, I'm tired of hearing about, not maybe our kind of guy. We need talent in this room, and
thank you.
right now, the best remaining talent on the market is Stefon Diggs, and we're digging on you. Are you digging on us? That's the question. Um, Stefan would automatically be sitting at the head of the class. Now, there have
Yes.
been issues in the past about the diva attitude and the diva. So you get that with, just about every number one wide receiver that's out there, whether
Mm,
they believe they're a number one or they are a number one. This man is a number one. And if he's healthy, he could bring a lot to this table, not only in his talent level on the field, but his knowledge off of it. Nobody's ever accused Stefon Diggs of being stupid. All
no,
right,
not at all.
football wise, being stupid. Um, Nobody's ever accused Stefon Diggs of lining up in the wrong spot, missing missing your cut, breaking in when you should have been breaking out. Believe me, if that mistake happened, it usually happened with the quarterback. And no, I do. I believe that this move could make the Patriots a serious contender if they hit the draft right, a serious contender for a playoff spot.
Very well said. And I'm glad that you mentioned the playoffs because we're going to talk about that in just a moment. If Diggs does not sign in New England, or if he feels this is not the right fit for him, what it could mean for the Patriots' potential
Yep.
to try to return to respectability. So, excellent drop in. We're going to come back to that in a moment. But again, more on, I think, why we like Diggs in this situation. You do hear about the diva mentality. You do
Yep.
hear about the sideline antics that can go on. We all
Yep.
saw it the last couple of seasons in Buffalo with Josh Allen. The thing that got Stefon Diggs so steamed up is that he felt he wasn't getting the ball enough.
Right.
That's usually what it comes down to. But in terms of personalities between the two, Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs kind of worked together like a hand in glove fit for those first couple of years in Buffalo. These two were as close as they got, and they worked well together.
Yep.
And I think if Stefon is looking to maybe turn the page and refresh his cachet, so to speak, I think he can do it here in New England with Drake May. And I think he's going to find some of the similar skill set that he found with Josh in Buffalo. Again, folks, I'm not comparing Josh to Drake, and I know we have some Buffalo listeners here that listen and hate listen sometimes to New England Patriots. Now, Josh Allen is still the class of the AFC East when it comes to quarterbacks. However, you look at what Diggs can bring to this team, and
Right.
to me, this is really the heart of the argument. Before last season, 6 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, both for the
Right.
Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills. While he was in the AFC East, he torched the New England Patriots. 2 games in particular where he received over 100 yards,
Yeah.
gave a peace sign on his way to the end zone. He knows he can perform well here, and he knows that he can do well in this building in Gillette Stadium. At this point, with that upgrade in talent, I mean, it's almost a no-brainer. But again, he brings a level of experience that I think is so lacking in this wide receivers room. He's never shy about voicing his opinion. The Patriots need someone like that.
Right.
And let's not forget that his first year in Houston last year was voted a team captain. You
Right.
don't get to that level just by skill on the field. It's also the players in the locker room that trust you to be that vocal leader that sometimes this team needs. Stefon Diggs is not going to shy away from a microphone being put in his
No.
face. To me, I think this is an upgrade not only on the field, but I don't think it's getting enough credit for being the upgrade in the locker room and behind the scenes that I think
Right.
it can be.
Stefon Diggs is going to be somebody that walks into that wide receiver room and commands respect and can crack the whip when other
Mhm.
guys that are not putting that work in. Stefon Diggs is somebody that's going to walk into that locker room and be able to crack the whip because that's the kind of respect that he gets from other receivers around the league. We've heard ad nauseum about guys lining up in the wrong spot, making the wrong breaks, things that I
Mhm.
talked about earlier. This is a man that's going to keep these kids on point. All right. I don't care what you did in college. All right. I don't
Mm.
care. I don't give a damn. All right. He's almost a Vrabel-esque type individual with how he reacts to and treats his teammates. I'm here putting in the work. I'm making all the money. Why aren't you trying to do this? Okay? You want the ball as much as I do. Put the work in and get open.
Absolutely. So well said. And again, folks, it comes down to the ability to command the locker room, to command the respect, and that translates to the field. That type of respect that Stefon Diggs is going to command from his teammates is going to be felt on the field, especially by Drake May. And
Yep.
when you need a big play and you need someone to help spark your offense, that's going to be the first guy he looks for. So
Right.
the diva mentality of him not getting the ball, I don't think is going to be a factor here. I think Drake is going to make it his
Yeah.
business to get Stefon Diggs the ball, and that could help to quell some of the concerns surrounding that.
Right.
But it also leads me quite nicely into my final question for you today, Bud, and that is there is a chance that Stefon Diggs leaves New England without
Sure.
a deal,
A good
or
chance.
that he leaves New England looking to either continue on in his journey and his quest to find his next home in 2025, or he leaves outright and says, no, this is just not the place for me. It's not going to work out. If you're the Patriots, after investing this type of interest in a receiver like this, where do you go from there? What does this mean for the New England Patriots in their quest to find Drake May a weapon?
You're really backed into a draft corner. It's going to have to come from the draft.
Mm.
I don't see an influx of talent coming at this point in time unless you go and you make that Ayuk deal that people are talking about. Those are really your two options right now, and I still don't know if Ayuk wants to play here.
Mm.
You also have to deal with his injury. You have to deal with Diggs' injury, but you're dealing with a bunch of damaged goods and hoping that one of them comes in here and can rekindle what they had.
Mm.
I believe Diggs has a better upside than Ayuk, even at this point in his career, simply with what I've seen him do on the field. Granted, I haven't watched as much of Ayuk as I have of Diggs because, my affinity for the Purple People Eaters out there. Skull, everybody. I love Minnesota. I love their fans. I've loved their team for decades. But they take a far back seat to New England. And I think Diggs is the guy to go to. He brings a maturity that I don't think Ayuk does as an elder statesman in the room. I don't think Ayuk commands as much respect from the younger generation as Diggs does. And like I said, I don't want to go into this draft needing a number one wide receiver because you're either taking that number one wide receiver at 4 or at 8, as opposed to getting a really good number 2 with one of those second round picks or a marginal trade up.
Yeah.
I would rather be able to go into this draft season focusing on the offensive line.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that's one of the big reasons why New England is so gung-ho on trying to bring someone like Stefon Diggs in. All you need to do is give up financial capital in order to secure his services. The Patriots have plenty of it. So I don't think they'll be outbid by anyone. It's going to be whether or not Stefon believes this is the right fit for him and whether or not New England, after meeting him, feels this is the right fit for them. If both of these sides feel this could be a good union, I think you see a deal get done here. But again, folks, we're going to continue to monitor that throughout the day. But Murph and I wanted to provide you with the best case scenario on either side. Surprisingly enough, we find ourselves on the side of wanting Stefon Diggs to be a New England Patriot.
Right.
This guy is a phenomenal route runner. I have admired his abilities from the time that he was a young receiver in Minnesota. And if I can say the word Stefon Diggs is a New England Patriot this season, I'm going to be a happy host here on Locked On Patriots.
I'll be a lot happier than if I said he's not.
Absolutely. And I know my buddy here on the opposite side of the screen feels exactly the same way. But Murph, the Patriots were not done making deals or attempting to make deals. They got a couple that have been signed on the dotted line. And in just a moment, Murph and I are going to talk about another former Tennessee Titans defender coming into town and helping to shore up that linebacking core in New England. This is a guy that Murph has been eyeing for quite some time. We're going to talk about linebacker Jack Gibbons in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. You can find the right talent. If you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivers incredible results. And the hiring is fast and easy. Posting a job is free and simple, and within a day, you'll have multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork, Upwork.com, Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Locked On listeners, imagine watching your favorite team live, feeling the energy of the crowd, and witnessing unforgettable moments. There's nothing like experiencing a big game in person. But getting tickets shouldn't be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute seats at unbeatable prices. With Game Time picks, curation makes it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. And here's the thing I love most about Game Time: peace of mind. With seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and a lowest price guarantee, you can book with total confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONNFL, LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots as we continue to break down the latest Patriots roster moves. An attempted move right now going on potentially as we speak or as you're listening to this, is Stefon Diggs visiting in Foxborough with the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium. And joining me here today to break it down is my good friend Thomas Murphy of DieHardBostonSportsFans.com. Murph, we talked about Diggs in the previous segment. That deal is yet to be signed at the moment we're speaking. At the time our listeners are listening or viewing this podcast, it may be a done deal, or there may still be miles to go before Stefon Diggs makes his final decision. But the Patriots have made a couple of moves to help shore up positions of need. And Murph, one move that the Patriots did make over the past couple of days was bring in some help for the linebacking core. And this is a gentleman that you've been eyeing for quite some time. For the past few years, you've been saying this guy would look great in a Patriots uniform. You're going to get your wish. Former Tennessee Titans linebacker Jack Gibbons is now a member of the New England Patriots. And this looks like, on its surface, Murph, a depth move, an opportunity to bolster that linebacking core. But you're high on Jack Gibbons, and I know you have been for quite some time, and you believe this could be an impact signing for the Pats. What does the signing of Jack Gibbons mean for this Pats defense in your estimation?
Jack Gibbons is an impact player. He could end up being a starter on this team, especially under Mike Vrabel. Gibbons is a read and react linebacker like there are few others in this league. Okay, he's last year he had a small sample size because he broke his ankle or leg, whichever bone you want to pick there, and had to have it surgically repaired. But before that, man, he was just knocking on top 10 in run stop in the league as a linebacker. That's not small potatoes, man. He's an excellent run stop. If you just go back and watch the tape against New England last year, watching him read crack tosses and yet not overextending himself, not overcommitting to it, just keeping his eyes right on that running back, and then hitting the A gap when the running back decides to cut back or cut back through or go up the middle. I love this sign. He's also really good in dropping into coverage. This is going to be a problem for guys that are looking for time on the field right now, because this is a man that is a 3-down linebacker.
That's an excellent point, and I'm glad that you made that about him being a very adept in coverage, because a lot of people were saying that the knock on Jack Gibbons right now is that he's much better suited in an early down role, going downhill attacking, than he is in coverage. And it lends quite nicely into the narrative right now that he may be a replacement for Christian Ellis, who yesterday was signed by the Las Vegas Raiders to an offer sheet. Now, the New England Patriots have until Monday to match this sheet or to let Ellis walk. So a lot of people are wondering whether or not the arrival of Gibbons means a sure departure for Ellis. I think it's going to really depend on how the Patriots see Jack Gibbons and how they see Ellis, because one thing I do know from speaking with those close to the team over the course of the last couple of weeks, Mike Vrabel likes Christian Ellis an awful lot. Yeah. This is a great coverage linebacker that I don't think gets enough of the credit or the press that he deserves for being the type of player that he is. Gibbons, in his time under Vrabel, was more of a downhiller than a guy that dropped back into coverage. You look at the numbers. Against the run, he played 316 snaps. In coverage, his snap count was 290. 22 as a pass rusher. So automatically, you're looking at him playing under Mike Vrabel, and you're saying, okay, well, this guy is much more of a presence downhill than he is in coverage. However, I think you look at the strides that he made over the course of the last few years in Tennessee, even when Vrabel had moved on from Tennessee, you're starting to see this guy be more of a coverage type player. So if the Patriots see that in him, then I think they let Ellis walk away. If they don't, I think they may try to match this. And I think that it would be good for the Patriots to have Christian Ellis alongside Jack Gibbons. And really, I think a very potent 1-2 combination in that linebackers room. But again, if they believe Gibbons can do it all, and I think you've made an excellent case for it, they may be willing.
Best. Yeah. Before he got laid up last year, he was the 13th best linebacker in coverage in the NFL last year. Okay, I know it was a small sample size, but it keeps getting better every single year. This kid keeps working. He keeps learning. This is why I wanted him 3 years ago. Patriots ignored me. Now, I like Ellis too. And I think if they bring him back, they match this offer sheet, all the better. All the better. More depth, more power. Keep building this defense. Build a bully. This dude is a bully no matter whether he's dropping back into coverage or if he's attacking Romondre when he tries to cut back.
Very well said. Extremely well said. And look, I think Jack Gibbons brings an exciting level of play to this linebackers core, especially to this defense, and it fits the mold that the New England Patriots want to run here. And again, so does Christian Ellis. I think that's one of the reasons why New England chose to bring him back and to sign him as a restricted free agent. To me, I think this gives the Pats an opportunity to see what they have on the roster, what types of spots they're going to need to keep free in order to bring in some help that they're going to need. A lot of that is all going to factor in here.
And look what this kid does against mobile quarterbacks. And he's not somebody that bites too soon and bites too early. He gets there. He gets there. He gets to the man with the ball and drags him to the ground. And I love it. I love this signing.
Oh, absolutely, without any question. And in my estimation, I don't want to put words in Mike's mouth here. This is just my observation, Murph, but it almost seems like he's putting everyone in that locker room on guard. Do not look at anyone on this roster as sacred cows right now. Jelani Tavai, Juwan Bentley have given you everything they can in a Bill Belichick-style defense. And to a certain extent, that's kind of what they tried to run last year under DeMarcus Covington. They weren't as weren't as effective, but in theory, that's what they wanted to do. So you knew that Bentley and Tavai were going to play big roles in that defense. I'm not so sure that's going to happen in a Mike Vrabel defense this year. They may not be the type of guys that Terrell Williams wants to run with. I know Juwan Bentley supposedly has slimmed down. He's now in
Yeah,
the 230 range. Our good friend Mike Giardi over at Boston Sports Journal,
right.
tip of the cap for that information. But again, this brings up the question about whether or not guys like Ellis and guys like
He
Spillane.
wants he wants
Yeah.
the smaller, quicker, sideline to sideline guys, and pairing Owens up with Spillane is just brilliant. It's
Mm.
just brilliant. You can see the evolution happening.
Right. Absolutely. And that evolution, I think, is going to be an exciting product to watch on the field, folks. Anybody wondering what this defense is going to look like, expect aggression, but I think you can expect competence, and I think you can expect a high level of play. And as long as the Patriots are doing that, they're doing something right. So good stuff all the way around, Murph, for the New England Patriots as they continue to move forward and build their new team in 2025. But just 5 days after the Patriots announced they were releasing longtime captain David Andrews, they filled their void at center with former Minnesota Vikings first rounder Garrett Bradbury. Is Bradbury enough to fill the shoes of a legend? Well, Murph and I are going to talk about that subject and more when we wrap up today's discussion right here on the Locked On Patriots podcast, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots, breaking down the potential and done deal Patriots signings and roster moves over the course of the past week. Stefon Diggs, is he a Patriot? Is he not? At the time you're listening to this, you may already know the answer to that question. And in the first segment, my good friend Thomas Murphy, who joins me here today, the only man that could handle this type of wisdom and counsel that we needed, is here to lend all of that today. And we also talked about the addition of linebacker Jack Gibbons, who Murph has been coveting for quite some time in New England. Patriots finally have him signed on the dotted line, and I think Murph laid out an excellent case as to why it's an exciting signing for your New England Patriots. But Murph, 5 days after releasing 8-time team captain David Andrews at the center position, New England Patriots signed who many believe will be his potential replacement this season. And that is Garrett Bradbury, who spent the first 6 years of his career with the Minnesota Vikings. Bradbury's a first-round draft pick. He entered the NFL as the 18th overall selection in the 2019 NFL Draft. Started most of the time that he was in Minnesota, over 6,000 career snaps at center. Started all 92 of his regular season games, and that also includes playoff games as well, folks. An experienced presence up front, but the question beckons. The New England Patriots are losing an awful lot with the absence of David Andrews, not just on the field, in the locker room, and really throughout the roster. Murph, you know big round men up front better than anyone. You played the very position that Garrett Bradbury is going to be asked to play this season. What are your reactions to this signing? Is this a needle mover for the New England Patriots?
Garrett Bradbury is a better center than I am. He is not a better
Well, that's something.
He's not a better center than David Andrews was. He's not a better center than Kelly was. I would have been happier if the Patriots went out and stole some of that thunder from the Colts and brought Kelly in here. God knows they had the money. Bradbury is a serviceable starting center in the NFL. Okay, and after the release of Andrews, I don't know that the Patriots had that. I've been on record for a long time saying that that Cole Strange can snap, but we know this man can snap.
Yeah.
All right, we know that he can get the quarterback the ball on every single. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is; they keep changing them out there in Minnesota. Like I changed my socks. This guy's worked with a lot of different quarterbacks, and they don't complain about him. My thing is he gets blown up quite a bit with bigger, stronger defensive lines. He has a little deficiency when it comes to pass pro. He's a good run blocker, not a great one, but a good one. Right now, it's another veteran on this line, and they needed that. So we've got 3/5 of a starting offensive line right now when we had 2/5 of it yesterday. The guy's a starter, but don't expect him to really light it up. It just goes to what I said last week. There must be something seriously wrong with David Andrews if they're making this move and not keeping David around.
Yeah, and you almost get the impression that that must have been the case. Although
Yeah.
you hear David come on his own podcast recently and say that the news was a little bit of a shock. He's absorbing the information, deciding to find out what he does next. It didn't sound like a guy who kind of received a gut kick from the New England Patriots and then all of a sudden realized these guys don't want me because I simply can't suit up anymore. I can't do the job. Still a twinge in his voice that he can go out there and get the job done. So maybe this was a cautious move on the New England Patriots, and maybe they were a little bit overcautious in trying to rid themselves of a player that they felt did not have more than one season left in his arsenal. But again, you're giving up an awful lot when you miss David Andrews. We have an affinity for David. There's no question about it. But once again, if the Patriots do get younger, Bradbury comes in, does his job, all of a sudden the move doesn't look too bad. But here's why I'm concerned about this. We've seen in the past few seasons that he has struggled in pass protection. You mentioned that he is a solid run blocker, and he is. Nobody can take that away from him. But according to Pro Football Focus, last season, no other center in the NFL registered more regular season pressures than he did, and that number is 37. That's a high number for a center to yield that type of pressure when your main priority
He's been the weak link.
Yeah.
He's been the weak link in Minnesota. Minnesota recognized that and said, we need to go in a different direction. And there was no one knocking on Minnesota. Minnesota would have taken a 6th-round pick for him. All right? And they would have taken a 6th-round pick for him, and nobody was offering.
Now, if I'm trying to play devil's advocate and talk out of both sides of my mouth, which I happen to do pretty well, I'll also point to the fact that he looked like he was getting a little bit better as the season went on. And I'm not going to make excuses for Garrett Bradbury, but let's not forget that he's sandwiched in between two guards that really struggled all season long too. I mean, Ed Ingram.
They were replaced too.
Ed Ingram found himself on the bench, halfway through the season. So it wasn't like he was playing with top level talent, or competent talent that I believe he'll have here if he's got Michael Wenu on the right side and either Cole Strange or Layden Robinson on the left. I think he may be a little bit better suited there. And I actually thought he didn't play that badly in the Vikings wildcard loss to the Rams this past year. I thought that there was a little bit to bite onto there if you're looking at some tape to watch on him and say, okay, well, this is what he's capable of. That game may give maybe a little reprieve to some Patriots fans out there that are really, really worried about this signing.
Right. I made a big deal earlier in when Ronnie Stanley chose to, stay in Baltimore, saying, talking about the guys that he was lining up next to and them making him look better. He's not Tyler Linderbaum, but he didn't have a lot of talent next to him on either side of that line, and that's why the Vikings are just completely blowing it up and going in a new direction. I'm just saying that he's not an all-pro, and I think David Andrews was a better gamble right now. I would love it if they had kept David Andrews and signed Bradbury. Put it that way.
Yeah, and I think a lot of Patriots fans would agree on that point. Look, I know David has his detractors where people feel that the game has passed him by and they needed to get younger. This is an ideal opportunity for them to be able to cut bait. But at the same time, you also look at everything that you're leaving behind, and some of that experience and some of that age does count for something, folks. It is palpable. You will miss that in the locker room. The question is, how much will the Patriots miss it? And is Garrett Bradbury enough to come in and to at least adequately play the position because you can never fill the shoes of a legend. And this is why we keep bringing Murph back each and every week, folks. You cannot fill the shoes of a legend. But what can I say? No. I can't thank you enough for always being there for the handoff when I need you, lending the wisdom, the counsel, the wit, the grit, the way only you can. Before I let you go today, my friend, please let everyone know where they can reach out to you, interact with you, and what you got cooking in Murph's Kitchen over the weekend.
No, you got me at TMurph207S there on the Zitter, or at TMurph207. Leave the last S off for savings over at where the skies are blue. I got to start spending more time out there, man. It's getting warmer. Go sit down on the back porch on blue sky and have some lemonade. And other than that, I'm just doing some Red Sox stuff, and my own baseball season is starting to kick off right now. I'm forming the new and improved team. Butchie's long gone, but these kids still want to keep coming to play baseball for me, so I've got a lot of that happening.
Absolutely, and you know what? They're a lucky team to have such a great coach. We wish you the very best, bud. Definitely a tip of the cap. But here on Locked On Patriots, we'll always be hashtag Team Butchie from now until the day that podcasts no longer exist. And on that note, folks, I want to thank each and every one of you, all of you everydayers especially, but all of you occasional listeners, and those of you joining us here for the first time, whether you be a recent first-timer or today may be the first show you've ever checked out here on Locked On Patriots. We hope you're coming back for more because the best is still yet to come. But in the meantime, on behalf of my good friend Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate, and I'd like to remind you all to stay safe, to stay well, and to be the change that you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.